Hey everybody, it's Molly from Thunder Ridge Kennels here with a fresh edition of Hot Off the Presses featuring Jen Chandler from Cabeza Grande Kennels. We're here today to do my idea for an episode. We've been gone for a while taking care of what we love, our Presa Canarios, and today we're going to show you all of our tricks and all of our tools that help us take care of it in our episode of our favorite Presa things. Think like Oprah and her favorite things. Hopefully these will be some great suggestions and everybody can find something that they didn't know about, or feel free to leave us some comments about the things that you love or that you use. And don't forget to tell us where you find them. So I'm going to turn most of this over to Jen, and we're going to just flip through and show you some of our stuff. Of course, we're going to start with the most important thing you have to give a dog, which is food. So I'll tell you first of all that Jen and I both feed the same things to our dogs, Purina Pro Plan. Jen, tell us a little bit about why you choose that or what you consider its benefits.
So I've tried all the fads, the grain-free, boutique stuff, expensive stuff, and they always cause some sort of issue. And I come back to Purina Pro Plan and it fixes it. So I stopped going to the following trends and fads, and I just do Purina Pro Plan. It's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive, but it just does all of my dogs good. Literally 20 dogs can be on it, and there's not an issue with a single dog. But if I go and get, like I get Victor, and some of them have black, I'm not going to be gross, but have black
not
stools,
ideal stools.
Not ideal stools, and that's really tells you the health of the dog, the stool content. Now so Pro Plan, any of the varieties, I use the All Life stages, and I actually just started using puppy food for my pregnant females, which is a change for me, recommended by the University of Missouri for a female that I had trouble getting pregnant. So we're going to just try that for a little while. I don't know that I recommend it or don't recommend it. I don't think it can hurt. Right. But, so when you're feeding the kibble, the biggest downfall to processed food is the lack of meat content. So if you can add meat to a kibble diet, you've fixed all of that issue. So the Instinct Raw is just something I'm comfortable with. This one says beef recipe, but I find, chicken, rabbit, and switch it up. And then a couple of times a week, I give that. So I've added meat content to what is arguably the downside to feeding a processed kibble.
So I know what my dogs do, and I know we've worked out. Our dogs eat anywhere from 3 cups of dry to, we have one female who goes all the way up to 10 cups sometimes of dry food. And then we give them what we call meat sickles during the week, which are the raw. We give them about a pound or so, but you do it differently. Tell me what you do.
So you mean the Instinct stuff?
Well, any of the raw. How do you supplement in your raw?
I too I find that most of my adults can get by with it, like 3 cups of, not 3, but 4 or 5 cups of kibble is good enough for them. Then I also have some that need 10 cups a day, or they're just going to lose weight and be skinny. Mm-hmm. So I will give, on raw days, when I do separate it, it's probably 3 pounds of raw.
Okay.
Typically that's my starter base. And then I go, okay, this female needs less, this male needs more. So whoever needs more can get up to 3.5, 4 pounds. Whoever needs less can get as little, like Suey in the house, who's 13, she eats a pound a day. If I did raw, and then mm-hmm. kibble, she gets by with 2 cups.
Gotcha.
She's almost 120 pound dog, and she just does good. And you really can't go by what your friend says or your friend's dog says or what the bag says. You have to look at the dog, feel the ribs, and feed that dog in front of you.
Right.
You want to be able to easily feel a rib panel when you rub the dog, but not see it.
Right.
That's for a regular everyday weight. Now, if we're talking about a conditioned weight, that's completely different. Don't listen to me about that. A conditioned weight will be more muscles, more food, but less fat cap on the ribs. It's healthy for a dog to have a little bit of fat on the ribs.
So comments on the Titan food?
That I use for my moms when they have puppies on the ground, not before. It's too high calcium for before. So once my mothers have a litter on the ground, they're getting 5 pounds of that a day, plus as much kibble as they want.
Right. And then puppies, which one do you give the puppies? The Titan one?
Very far right. Yeah, the Titan Blue, I make that up, and I mix that with yogurt, full fat yogurt, goat's milk, and then I put the probiotics and the vitamin C in that, and so they'll eat that 3-4 times a day. Depends on how old they are.
Jen and Dave's famous puppy gruel.
Yeah, I got some videos of that on there.
Right. And we use it too. Our dogs, that's what we transition our puppies to first when we start to whelp, and it seems to work really good for us. We have also sourced locally. We live in rural southern Missouri, where there happens to be a butcher, an Amish butcher, who has started into the raw pet food business. So we've been lucky enough to get some local grown and raised raw food for our puppies at this point too, and we do feed it to our females after they birth as well.
This Titan mixture is a mushers mixture, so it's a super high fat content that you're not going to find in just regular source meat. So from a fat standpoint, this is probably better than what most people can get their hands onto, because if you think about the sled dogs up there, they need a ton of fat. So puppies need fat.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit of advertisement. I get my Purina from Chewy. I'm not sure who you do.
I buy by the pallet from a local feed store, Prairie Town Feeds, Prairie Town, Illinois.
And then the Raw Instinct you get?
You can get that at any pet store, but there's a co-op here that gets it by the truckload, so it gets a little cheaper than normal. So it's probably $7-8 a pound normally, and we can get it for $3-4 a pound.
And then how about the Titan?
I buy that from Ross Wells Company, which delivers to a co-op in St. Louis, and they bring a couple pallets, and we all come and pick it up from one spot.
So if you live near a bigger town, which myself, I do not, maybe you can look into some kind of different arrangements that they have like that. And obviously, if you're in the St. Louis area, reach out to Jen, and I'm sure she can give you the information.
Yeah, Ross Wells is I know it's all of the Midwest, but I think it's pretty much countrywide.
There you go. Yeah, if we can help with anything or source anything in the video for you, let us know for sure.
I will kick that computer.
There we go. So next we're going to talk about preventative meds, which is really important. Definitely a step you cannot skip. The first one we're going to talk about is dewormers, and then the ivermectin. I do what I'm told and give the preventatives and give our preventatives as I'm told to, but Jen understands way more the scheduling and the why of it. So I'm going to turn that part over to her. So go ahead.
So the easy simple answer that people will understand is that you deworm, not worm, because that would be like putting in worms. So it's called deworm. Don't make that mistake. But 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks for puppies. And then once a month until they leave me, and then once every 6 months for the rest of their lives. That's what I do with this. This Safeguard on here is a generic form of Panicure. But if you want to get more complex, when the mother is about 40 days from whelp, you start using Panicure every day, and you give that to her until the puppies are 3 weeks. You still have to worm the puppies, but that will there's encysted eggs in her mammary glands. There's nothing we can do about that because those aren't killed by regular deworming. Look, I did it. I just told them not to. But by regular deworming, that's not killed by that. Those are hibernating. There's a better word for that, but those eggs and stuff are not killed by that preventative. So as the mother gets under stress and the whelping, those eggs are released and given to the puppies. That's how puppies get basically roundworms is the ones that they get, and there's almost no puppies that don't have roundworms. So if your puppy comes to you with roundworms, it doesn't necessarily mean that the breeder was bad. It's just that they got a little ahead of it, or they didn't get a treatment. Or nowadays we're starting to find that some of the worms are becoming immune to treatment. So that's sometimes a problem. But if you do the mother, especially day 40 on her when she's bred, 40 days later, you start this until the puppies are 3 weeks. That's a daily treatment for her. That's very cumbersome. It is what I do, but most of the breeders that I work with as mentees, they don't do that. And I don't find that, like when I get the puppies from them, I don't find that they're like riddled with worms. So it's fine to do 2, 4, 6, and 8 weeks. And this is 1 cc per 4.4 pounds. So you can imagine little tiny puppies are not getting very much at all. And that's all they need. And then with Safeguard, which is Panicure, you have to do 3 days. You do 3 days for deworming, and you do 5 days for preventative if you suspect Giardia. And like if the puppies go outside and drink out of puddles or play in the water and the soil, and especially rural farm areas, they can pick up all that crap. So I do 2, 4, and 6. I do 3 days in a row, and just before they go home, I do 5 days in a row. And then again, I repeat that once a month until 6 months, and then everybody on the property gets it every 6 months.
Right.
And also something that we did not put on here would be the tapeworm treatment, and that's something that I give every 6 months too.
Well, for the first 3 months, you do it every month for the first 3 for tapeworm?
Tapeworms is not usually a problem in puppies, only if you suspect that.
Oh, for puppies. But our big dogs, when we started with it, we did 3 days.
Well, that's because we had it. You had it.
Okay, got you.
We had it. We had a dog, which I don't know how she got it, but she ended up having tapeworm. So we just tapewormed every single dog in both of our programs. And we did that because we knew she had them. We just did everybody once a month for 3 months. That's not something you have to do if you're doing a preventative. That's for an actual treatment.
Then every 6 months after that for tapeworms, right?
Yeah. And I'm not going to say the source of our where we get this stuff. I will say that if you private message me, because I don't want to put that out.
We have a good,
I have a really good source that's
for it.
very reasonable and effective.
Yeah, and they get it to you quickly, for sure. And then ivermectin is something that we use. Do you use that?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's for heartworm.
Once a month, all of our dogs orally get, I don't remember the dose.
1 cc for, it's like if they're 150 pounds, you can give them more. I just draw up a whole cc and give it to, because honestly, if you did the macros of that, 10 little drops on a piece of bread is enough for a dog of our size, and that's crazy. But I just draw up a cc and right in there. This stuff is super hard to overdose and good for your dogs. If you do DNA testing, you never find out that one of your dogs has the MR1 gene.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cattle dog thing, and I've never found it in the 70 dogs that I've DNA tested. Then you would want to not do this. But that's like cattle dogs. Yeah, they have an adverse effect. Cattle dogs and rural dogs and stuff.
Well, and I will say that the ivermectin is easy to give. Most of our dogs are hogs, and you can just spray it right on their food and they'll eat it right away. The ones that I have that are a little pickier, I do squirt it right in their mouths, and they're fine with it. The
I get
liquid,
this.
yeah. The liquid Safeguard is a little tougher to get them to, because the dose is pretty large amount of it. But there are versions of that particular chemical that you can get in a pill form too, that we break open and then sprinkle on their food, which is a little bit easier.
When I do puppies, I buy like a vanilla yogurt, and then I will draw up the medicine, stick the syringe into the yogurt, spin it around, and draw up a little bit of yogurt. So the first dose into their mouth is yogurt. So they're like, oh God, I love that. And then while I'm doing that, as soon as they're old enough to take, this is unrelated to the wormer medicine, but as soon as these puppies are old enough to take things into their mouths, I'll just walk up there and randomly give cc's with yogurt in there. So they're already expecting that this is something
positive.
Good. So they never really react to it. Otherwise, I mean, before I got smart about it, I used to wear more medicine than I would put in the mouth.
Yeah. There are definitely methods to the madness.
By the time they're 8 weeks, sometimes my puppies are 25 pounds. So I'm giving 4 or 5 cc's of this stuff. And you can imagine how hard that is to give a puppy who's resisting.
And it isn't something, unfortunately, with the Safeguard, it is not something that any of them are okay with. They all don't find it palatable because it must not be.
I just, if I have to draw up more than one time per puppy, as soon as they start to resist, you just draw up more yogurt. If you can, but getting that programmed into them where you just walk up to them and everybody gets a little bit of just plain yogurt or just vanilla yogurt in a syringe. If you program that in, that muscle memory, that would just they're like little crackheads.
Like Pavlov's dog for sure. Okay. Now we're going to move to supplements. We've fed them, we've prevented everything. Now we're going to make them a little bit healthier. And these two are probiotics, which everybody knows those words, the yogurt kind of things. The one on the left is in a syringe form, which is so convenient for little puppies. From 3 days old, we give
day one.
You give them on day one? I've given them on third day.
Yeah,
I'll change that. Little pea size. to start out with, and then as they get older, they get a click kind of thing, which has a nice measuring device on it. And then the powder ones we use on our adult dogs. Is that what you use?
Yeah, and then in the puppy bowl.
Oh yes, in the puppy girl. Once they're onto when they start the whelping process, we put it into that too. So there's lots of different products out there. Benepack is obviously not the only one. You can get them from all kinds of places. Amazon, Chewy, all have something that you
It's
can
also
find.
good to switch them up.
Oh yeah, different strains and different.
Pro Viable, then there's Fortiflora. Just all kinds of different ones.
But it's as good for dogs as it is for humans. So even you people out there that aren't taking a probiotic, get you some because it's good for you, for
Yeah.
sure.
I do that for the life of my dogs. My dogs get that and vitamin C every day for their whole life. This Probios is just another form. It's super cheap, although I would not use it for very long. I wouldn't keep on that one for the dog's whole life. I would definitely switch it up to a stronger one just to change up the gut biome. And this is for dairy animals, so it's not exactly perfect, but it is better than nothing.
We used it for a little bit. They came in pill forms, which was kind of convenient when you had. We have a couple of situations where we have multiple dogs together, so it was easier for that because they ate out of the same bowls. We wanted to make sure they got their dose. So the pill form for that situation was better, and they would just eat them whole. And then the Ester C, we only give our puppies. Do you give it to the big dogs too?
Yeah, I give Ester C to everybody.
How often?
At least once a week for the adults, but it's in my puppy mush.
Yeah, we give it to the puppies every day.
So that would be a daily treatment for them.
Yes, gotcha. And these again are things that are on Amazon, Chewy. We're down to glucosamine, which is something that is definitely important for our types of dogs. I'm sure the older dogs, especially, we had an older dog that definitely changed her existence towards the end when we finally put her on glucosamine. It seemed to make her pop right up, whereas before it was a struggle. So I personally use the one on the right. We give 1 pill a day to the smaller dogs. The bigger dogs get 2. If we have a dog that has an issue, they might get 3 or 4. But it does seem to help for sure. I don't know what your thoughts.
Yeah, I use the one on the left and as soon as they turn 8, I start with that. The Cosequin's a pretty heavy dose, so there's glucosamine and stuff in the Pro Plan, so I just let it ride on there. Anybody who, like, I've had some dogs who were less than 8, but they had an injury, like my 3-legged dog. He's been getting that stuff for quite a while, but you can imagine a 3-legged dog puts a lot of pressure on the back end. His missing leg is in the front, so all the pressure's on the back. Oh. But as soon as they turn 8, I put them on this, and then there's a Liquid Health 5000, which is I also put it on there. This is very expensive, but it's really, really, really good for dogs.
So how often would they get something like that?
Every day.
Okay.
I give them Cosequin. Like I said, the 13-year-old, she gets this, and then the Cosequin with the probiotics and the vitamin C, and then she is also on Umbrella, which that's not one of my favorite things. I wouldn't say all dogs do good on that. Some do better than others. It's not actually helping her all that much, but I've heard people that use Umbrella.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, Suey, the 13-year-old.
Ours, didn't we give that to Echo?
Yeah.
It made a lot of difference for her. Tell them what it is. Yeah.
It's biochemical. It's engineered and designed specifically for their issue.
Hip issues?
Well, any kind of arthritis issue.
Arthritis.
Spinal. Suey's problem was she did a lot of sports and performance events before I was smart enough to help dogs stretch. So I was kind of a dummy. And she's 13 years old. What do we want from that?
Yeah, right.
But if I give her the Librella, it's a little better, but I have heard and seen some of my friends that give it to their older dogs, and the dogs are just like a different dog. So that's not one of my favorite things, because I don't want to recommend anything that's prescription. You should talk to your vet about.
Yes, definitely. But it is a newer on the market drug for dogs.
Yeah, I think it's pretty new.
Yeah. And we had a female whose back end was a little tight, and it seems to have loosened her up and made her a lot more agile.
She's a dog that has a puppy jumped off a shed.
Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. I did not know that. But it did seem to help her. So if you've got a dog that has some arthritic or trouble getting up, moving around, maybe want to consult your vet to see if that's an option for you. So next we'll talk about another type of supplement, which is calcium, which is important, especially for the nursing females. We use the Doc Roy's Healthy Bones. They get a large amount of them every day once they give birth.
Yeah, none before. No, zero calcium supplement before a dog has.
And you don't give your normal everyday dogs calcium.
No, there's
right?
a little bit of calcium in the ester C powder.
And then what about the osteoform?
Osteoform is the same, is a generic and cheap form of this Healthy Bones. So if you go in and buy the Healthy Bones, you could get that same exact product in 1,000 tablets. Although that's been out since before COVID. This 1,000 tablet osteoform has been out for a while. But the important thing to know about any calcium supplement back in the day, it used to be that people were told to calcium supplement their bitches before. They need the calcium. They need the calcium for the growing fetuses. But what that did was it turned the mother's natural production of calcium off and screwed her over for whelping. So that's when the uterine inertia problems started to increase. So we don't do that until afterwards. As soon as that first puppy is born, we start slamming.
Yeah, we have this product right here. Give me a second.
Well, I do Healthy Bones during whelping as well. But
you do?
Yeah, I alternate. Like she has a puppy, I'll give some of this liquid oral cal. I'll probably use 30 milliliters of this for a bigger litter.
Yeah.
But every other time I give her either the osteoform or the Dr. Roy's. Again, Dr. Roy's is an expensive version of osteoform. If you can get osteoform,
Thanks for telling me I've been buying Dr. Roy's all this time.
You can't. The only osteoform you can get now is the powder, which is hard to give a nursing mother.
This one?
I don't think. No, we don't have a slide of that.
Oh, got you.
See, these are chewable tablets.
Okay.
The one on the right is a chewable tablet, and you used to be able to get this for like $80, and there's 1,000 of them in there. And the Dr. Roy's is $25 for 160.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Nothing about
cheap.
Cheap.
Nothing about it is cheap. And the Citracal, so Citracal is not a sustainable calcium source. So this is not a balanced calcium phosphorus. Osteoform and Dr. Roy's is balanced calcium phosphorus. It can be given for the entire nursing period. Citracal is not balanced, so it can't be given. What it can be given is if you know your mother is really struggling, like some of those signs might be super restless or growling at puppies or not taking care of them, not staying in there. If they growl at a puppy, you can slam them with Citracal to get a heavy dose in there and then go back to the maintenance version of the calcium, because it needs to be 1-to-1 calcium phosphorus basis for your mothers, or it's not effective.
So this last one, like we said, this is used during whelping when they give birth. Then they get a shot of. We only use this so far, but it sounds like we're making a change. We give them a shot of this, and I definitely think once we learned about this product, it made a lot more successful pregnancies that we had at that point, or live births. Yeah. Whelps, that's the word. There you go.
Yeah, that's just like 3 or 4 clicks after every puppy.
Yeah. So this is a fun one. Bully beds.
They're expensive.
Yeah, they're an investment. Jen, if you ever watched any of Jen's videos of the dogs in her family room, she resides in her family room, but obviously they do too. We have a whole couch in our house that's for dogs.
Me too.
That's how much we are demented by our love for these.
Yeah, that couch you see against the wall, that's their couch.
Yeah.
Our couch is the brown one.
Yeah, we have the same situation in our house. And then the Corunda dog beds we use out in our kennels. Most of our dogs have them. They say they're indestructible, but you understand that there are going to be ones that can destroy them. We have 4 specifically that can. 5 minutes didn't last. So Corunda does guarantee their beds though. If you do, right. If you if it does rip out, they can send you a replacement tarp to go in it
That's like $40 for a new top.
Yeah.
So I just do that rather than, because those are $170 beds, I think.
Yeah, we have a whole set of them. The ones that don't destroy their beds, we've had them for a long time. I'm sure you have too. And they do great. Jen also has a trick for your nasty ones that want to flip them up in the air, and ours who wants to twirl it on her head, and who knows what else before she destroys it, to put some holes through the bars of it and chain them to the actual kennel walls,
Yep.
which helps control some of the toy aspect.
Then it's tug of war, but in general, it doesn't break off.
There you go.
And the bully bed thing, this little cover on it, it comes off. It's waterproof and it comes off, and
nice.
I've had them for a while, and I have had some accidents, not pee accidents because my dogs don't pee in the house, but vomit, or somebody stepped in shit and came running in the house or something, and they clean really easily. So
that's nice. Yeah, anything that can be cleaned, because presses are definitely
and all the parts on that Corunda bed are replaceable. So we've had to replace like corners or the down poles. All that stuff it's not that if you bought a whole set of it, it would be less than a bed, really.
Yeah,
but it's cheaper than buying a bed.
They do make versions, like the cots are the thing. If you go to a training school these days that everybody teaches, the dog's place on, and when you go to those places, they have like these canvasy fabric things on these plastic poles. Well,
no.
Presses will eat those. So we definitely had to find something that was sturdier and would stand up to them. And they seem to. All of our dogs that have them use them, lay on them, seem to love them. They come in several sizes, different height, legs, all that stuff. And you could keep them, I'm sure, in your house too. But like I said, we use ours in the outdoor kennels.
There's even a double one, like a bunk bed.
Oh, bunk bed for Presas.
Well, the only way I could think that would be useful is like putting it in the puppy room so that the mother could get away.
She would probably appreciate that. I know the last one we had would have, for sure. And so here's dog crates. These are like the dream dog crates, I'd say. They're definitely secure. They're definitely, there's probably still Presas that can get out of these too, but they'd be hard pressed, no pun intended. They are sturdy.
Car safe.
Yeah, car safe.
Especially that Gunner one is supposed to be one of the best ones.
Got you. It definitely. We don't have one. They're not the inexpensive version of a dog crate, but well worth the investment, especially if you move your dogs around a lot in a car or any other situation that would require them. Obviously, this model, the Vario kennel, is probably what more people have. It's a little more affordable. You want to make sure you have a sturdy one. We got one of the less expensive ones from like a Tractor Supply, and one of our dogs definitely decimated it in no time at all. So you just want to make sure you get what you invest in. And unfortunately, going the inexpensive route with the Presas just seems to not work. We have some that the bottom of the cage was broke, or the latch was broke off, and we'd stick them in there, and they'd never even try to get out. They didn't realize if they just pushed it real good with their foot, they can come out. So it's all relative to your dogs and how bad they don't want to be in a crate. So
I mostly have trouble when I get somebody else's adult or if I import adult. That's when I have problems.
Yes.
In general, mine are so used to being in crates that they don't even try to get out.
Yeah, ours definitely don't have the same experience. We have a escape artist named Nala that you couldn't confine if you wanted to. She pushed the wire out of a wire kennel, which brings me to Jen's next point, that no wire kennels ever.
No wire hangers. No,
That's
the
right.
wire kennel. I mean, I've seen so many dogs rip a toe off. I had one rip toes off in that bottom tray. It just, I don't see. I hate them. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. So there's our PSA for wire kennels. Some folks, that's what you got and that's what you work with. And again, if your dog's used to a kennel, it may not be a big deal. But we had a dog who went to step out of one and caught her toenail in the wire and ripped it right off. That was a miserable little time. We all know how bad it is when our babies suffer. So we don't want to make it worse. So this is brushing. Presas, I'm sure, as any of you are aware that own a Presa, that they don't have a coat that is really conducive to brushing like with a regular type of dog brush of any kind. And everything we tried, it would go across the surface, but it wouldn't really get down and get any of that fine matted up, well, not matted up, but the smaller under hair that's in. What is it?
I think they're guard hairs. I think
guard hairs.
They're not double coated, but they're
they're the more thin kind of fluffy stuff that's underneath. But I used the one on the left, the shedding blade. Somebody, when we first got Presas, put it up as a suggestion, and we found that on Amazon. It does actually come apart, so you can kind of pull it over them a different way. But I brush them back ways and against the grain, and it does a great job of getting all the excess out. We have some dogs, some of ours shed, and have lots of hair, and some of them, they barely ever need brushed. So, and then the Sleek Easy, is that what you use?
That's the only brush I really have. I have also those. I forgot about that little. It's square with little rubber points on it that you rub.
Like a
Gets
curry comb kind of thing?
Gets the under. It's a little bit softer rubber than a curry. But yeah, I think a curry would work too. But
yeah,
I admit I don't brush my dogs that often.
We do. It's kind of one of our when they come over and want to have the personal attention time, they seem to like to be brushed, and it seems to help keep up with it that way. Keeps the hair down for sure. And so now we have to give them some water at some point. The picture on the left is something that we use here. They're fence feeders. They're actually made for livestock. We used to have them when we raised pigs back in the day of FFA days. They do seem to work great. We use a Wishy-Wash system. Oh, we should have used the Wishy-Wash system. We use a Wishy-Wash system, which is like a sanitizing sprayer type of thing. Mm-hmm. And once a week, we go through and sanitize those bowls with a scrubby brush. And as long as we keep up on them, they don't get any mold in them. They don't get gooey. They don't smell. They don't get any of that yucky water smell to them or anything like that. So we have a lot of success with those. We also use them for our actual dog food in the inside too. Oh, is that Wishy-Wash? There you go.
Yeah, it goes on the end of your hose. It's a bleach-based product, and it comes with tablets. And I personally do this almost every day, and then I will do a full bleach where all the dogs have to leave the kennels once a month.
Yeah,
and that's better. It's a really good product.
We use it. We do the Wishy-Wash once a week. We're on gravel. Jen's on concrete.
Not by choice.
I know that, but we're on gravel, and we do have straw in a lot of them too. We don't dampen down the straw too much, but we use that Wishy-Wash. It's as convenient as can be. Think like a yard weed broadcaster, the thing that goes on the end of your hose for that. It's very similar, except it has some type of sanitizing pill that goes in it, and it keeps everything nice and fresh. Keeps the smell down, the flies away, all that good stuff. And then the genius picture on the right is Jen and Dave's creation, which seems to work great. Would you say you have some that are really old that have lasted a long time?
Yeah, like an 11 or 12-year-old set.
Oh, wow.
And it's just that we have dogs that will play soccer with the bowls, and they'll end up the rim of it eventually will fall off. I mean, besides the fact that once they play soccer with it, then they no longer have water, but it will also take off the rim of the bowl, and then that's sharp. What's left is really sharp. So we build a box, and that's a 10-quart water bowl, and we put the water bowl in there upside down, put the concrete around it, poke the holes and everything in it so that it gets all the air from around there, and then we let that dry, and then we can take the wooden box off of it, and when you flip it over, you can see the bottom picture on that. The bowl is attached in there. The bowl cannot be taken out, so you don't want to water them on concrete, because that can wick into the water, and I don't know what it will do, but I wouldn't want to drink out of concrete. But it's really easy to clean. We put a handle on the side, you just flip it up and scrub it out, spray it out, and lay it back down. This is probably 100-pound bowl.
Yeah, so they can't move it. They can try, but they can't.
A fur dog, a fur reginatus, that's a dog. He would grab the handle and drag it around. That's the only dog that's ever moved him.
Nice. It's a workout for him then. Yeah,
right.
Nice. I like it. But then we'll move on to leashes. Leashes are definitely an important thing. They need to work. We do have some retractable leashes here that we've used we use them when we first get a new dog to kind of teach them the property and show them where they can go and let them have kind of a little bit more range. But I know you like the slip leads better.
For a regular leash, I like the Biathane because it's super strong and super comfortable in your hand. But the everyday use around the house is there's literally slip leads. I probably don't even know where half the slip leads are, because they're hanging from trees, they're on fence posts, they're all over my property, because if I have a fight, I need to be able to get one around. I need to get a dog to that, put it on that slip leash where I can hold one dog, and then another dog you can choke the other dog off. But slip leads are just
That's a show for another day.
How to break up a dog? No, yes. Here's
How
the
not
here's
to.
the, here's the prescription to no air, no bite.
That's it.
That's it.
Choking
None
them
of this
out
yelling,
stops them.
no finger up the butt, none of that crap. No air, no bite. When they pass out, you're done.
Yeah, that's been our
But yeah,
experience on occasion.
slip leads
too.
are super easy. Just throw it around their neck, and if you have an issue, you can wrap it a second time around like their chest area, but to just
We have them too. We have several lengths of them, which is a nice thing. We have some real short ones to keep them, close by if you're just trying to transport them from one spot to another. And then we have some longer ones for taking to the vet or going out someplace or what have you. Which after you have leashes, you first have to have collars. Uh, the ones on the left are ones that we definitely use. They're nice. They're thick. They're kind of what do you think they are on the inside?
Like a felt.
Yeah, like a felt. That's a
But
good.
it's a really strong felt, so it doesn't wear out or tear
No.
like you would think a normal felt would. It's really thick. This bulldogsupplycompany.com, that guy, this stuff is super cheap.
But they're good. They're effective. They last. We haven't had any issues with them at all. The dogs seem to be comfortable in them. And as she said, they're more reasonable and they're the right size for the dog. They're nice 2-inch wide, and they can't, if you got them on their right, they can't get out of them. So, which
Except
is
for
important.
Lilith.
Oh, Lilith can get out of a steel cage. And then the Tacta handles, the Tacta-Pup with the handles. You have some of those,
Yeah,
right?
those are, I mean, if you take, they're appeasing to the eye, and it's not something you paid $160, $170. They're not that expensive, but the handle is good for holding them close. It's good for when we do breedings and we have to really watch the heads of the dogs. You don't have to choke the female out or the male out. You can really just hold it still, but it's just an upgraded version with the handle of the other collars. Not quite that rigid. Those collars on the left are super rigid.
Yes.
I use those for my tie outs, and they last forever.
Yeah, they are very sturdy. The bulldog ones are very sturdy.
When you first get them, it's actually physically hard
Yeah.
to make. You have to break them in.
Right, and you do want to check the size on those. They definitely, if they're too short, they just aren't. There's no stretch to them. There's no making them work or whatever. You're going to want to measure those before you buy those. The ones on the right are adjustable, so they're a little bit different. But the ones on the left are only adjustable by the holes in the cut-ins. So there's no adjuster on them. So here comes the fun part. Everything's a toy to a Presa, though, right?
Just look at my living room floor.
Yeah, right.
Zoom in.
I started with Kongs. Kongs were the first toys that we really ever used to give our dogs for distraction. There are certain Kong toys that do not stand up to a Presa. You think it says Kong and you think your Presa is going to be fine, but it's not the case. And lots of you out there, I'm sure, know that. This particular Kong ornament, we used to stuff with peanut butter, and then we'd stick little pieces of treats down in there, and it would keep our girl occupied for a long time.
And if you freeze that, it's freeze that. And then there's also toys called topples and different things where if you whatever you shove in there and you freeze, that's literally hours of work for them.
Oh, good. Yeah. So you get what the point is there. We're just trying to distract them that they just got left home alone. And so that way they don't eat my couch and they chew it on the toy instead. That's right. And then the Nylabones, I mean, Presas can get into them, but
pictured is actually a Benebone. Those are stronger than Nylabones, depending on what size you get. The Nylabone come from anything from something for a puppy all the way up to something for ours. I just find the Nylabones are one of the most, or not Nyla, but the Benebone is one of the most strong ones.
Yeah, they can survive a Presa. It's not something you're going to give to them and they destroy in 5 minutes, and they'll have to work at it for a while. There are some shapes that they seem to like better than others. This shape seemed to be popular with ours. There are some other ones that there's a wheel shaped one or something like that
there's one with like two handles
grips on the side. Yeah,
the holes on that one used to be big where they would get it on their jaw. They did correct that, but I have some that prefer those too. That just walk around the house with them all.
Yeah, so it's going to be per dog too, whether they like something or they don't. But these will actually hold up and are worth the money that you spend on them. Jolly Pets. A lot of the stuff are horse toys that we got. We got Jolly Balls and this Jolly thing. We hang this in our puppy kennel, and they come along and play with it, and it kind of gives them something to chew on, and it is interesting to them. They can't destroy it. if I gave this to one of our big dogs, though, they could definitely take that particular thing apart. But the Jolly Pets has some different options that you could check out that, depending on your dog's chew force, would be able to stand up to it. Gorilla Chews aren't something I've ever used. Is that you have those?
Yeah, that's literally a giant piece of wood.
Oh, ours love to chew wood, so that makes sense.
It's just a big giant piece of wood that's safe for them.
They last pretty long.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
they don't last forever. But they last
Expensive,
pretty long.
not too bad.
Just along the
Average.
same lines. And
Yeah.
it's not anything name brand.
And then I know you get bark boxes. I've never associated with Soda Pup. What do you get from them?
Soda Pup is they have different things. They have slow feeders and they have rubber toys, which I wouldn't do the rubber, but they have these nylon toys. It's just basically different shaped pieces. What looks like plastic, but it's safe for dogs, and different shapes, probably 30 different shapes. And you can go onto their site and go to their blemished, and you can get like 30 pieces for like $100, and they're typically $15-$16 a piece, but they just get mismarked batches, and I buy that big box of those. And some of them come in a bat shape. There's a marijuana leaf, all kinds of, and some of them like different leaves.
You never know.
Different pieces. And everybody gets one of those, and then everybody gets marrowbone, big raw medium marrowbone, which I don't think we put on here.
We've got them on there. I think they're coming up. What about your bark box? You still get it every month?
Yeah. I bought it for Jenga when she was little, and I just never stopped this subscription. It comes with three chewable toys, and then a bunch of little sample packages of treats, and so everybody gets the treats.
Pretty sturdy toys.
Yeah.
Good ones.
So for Halloween, it had a ghost shaped one, and for Valentine's month, they have just weird. It's always theme based. But,
yeah, that's cute.
It's stuff from hard plastic, not plastic, but hard. It looks like a strong mesh. Sometimes they'll have a toy like that in there, but it's mostly super hard rubber. It's like a Kong
base,
a super hard Kong thing, and then they're always solid, so you're not breaking into it.
Gotcha. And they stand up for a while. They don't.
Yeah, the one for large dog. There's a section for large dogs. I wouldn't do the other ones. Oh, there you go.
There's your marrow bones.
Yeah.
So we get bones here for, like I said, we have the Amish butcher that's local to us, and we go there. And if we go on the right days after they cut beef, we can get a bag full of bones for $5, and there's enough for all 12 of our adult dogs. And you just can't beat it. It keeps them busy for a while. Some of them still have some meat on the bone. They get some of the stuff in the joints.
Yeah, marrow,
and all that stuff. And then for the price, you just can't beat them. And especially, we don't do them so much in the summer when it's real hot, just because of flies and things like that. We don't want to draw them, but the shoulder seasons in the wintertime gives them something to kind of burn their energy on and get some good fat out of and such like that. I've never bought the marrow bones. Where do you get those?
I don't buy. Well, there's marrow in the bone on the left already.
Yeah.
I can. The place that I get mine from are not the two sides like the one on the left shows. It's one side and then it's cut.
Mm-hmm.
So the one on the right looks like it might be cooked. So if anything that's cooked in a bone version, don't do that. That might just be, they just might be older,
aged
or smoked or something. But I don't like you go to the Walmart and see those smoked bones. Don't do any of that. But so I get it from the Ross Wells Co-op that I get the puppy mush mix from.
Gotcha.
And that's more expensive than what she has, but it's still, I'll get a bag is 20 bones. It's probably $30 or something like that. But it's literally the whole knuckle and then half, maybe this much of a.
Yeah. Well, then that marrow is exposed, so they can get in there.
And they were literally wrap their feet around it and drool into the end of the bone until the marrow gets soft, and then they'll suck it out. It's really disgusting.
They love it,
right?
You know, peep out of them that day.
Nope. Except for they fight with each other about it.
They are very. Well, that is a warning. They will be very, very possession aggressive over their bones at some point. So if you do have more than one and you give them something like this and you haven't before, I would do it separately.
All of this stuff do separately because every dog finds something valuable something different that's valuable to them. If it's valuable enough to fight over, you won't know that without trying. I have some that, if you look in my living room, there's 30 things on the floor and nobody will fight over any of those because there's nothing on the floor that's valuable enough to fight about it. But if I throw one of these meaty bones in there, then I got the 7-dog brawl. Even the old lady gets off the couch for that. So they get that in their crates or in their kennels.
Yeah.
But
Private.
you have to, there are some dogs that would find that stuff on my floor valuable enough to fight over. You just have to find that out.
Yes.
And my main thing, what I tell my people, is nothing on the floor for them to chew or play with, always separate until they prove otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to have any issues over something like that. Deer antlers is the last one in this section. I know that they're expensive though.
Yeah, I do deer antlers and water buffalo horns, and the key with both of those things is that they should be solid. Like you can go and get water buffalo horns that are, these big bulky things. You look in there and you can stick your whole hand in there. Those are easier to break up and they don't last as long. So you want to get the one that's the most solid.
But the deer antlers will last a long, long time, don't they?
They all,
They don't get through.
Not it forever, but
yeah.
And you can get those. I mean, there's sources of stuff. Farmhounds.com has that kind of stuff. Bully Bunches has like a different variety of stuff. Farmhounds actually has. We should set this up. And it has natural rawhide. Rawhide is bad for dogs if you buy it like at the Walmart or the pet store, but if you can get natural rawhide, and I buy the kind with the fur still on it, that's Farmhounds. They
an outside treat.
I mean, or in their crate. That again, they're these big beef rolls, and they're rolled up, and they'll last quite a while. But we'll just throw one in a crate for half an hour and then take it back out,
so they don't get too much of it.
Yeah. But they will fight over those.
I will point out in this part that we don't have pictures of it, but for our puppies, for me personally, I'm not sure what you do, but for me personally, almost everything is a puppy toy, depending on how small they are. But when they are first out of the kennel area from their mom and they can play with things, we use water gallon jugs. We use cardboard boxes that are sturdy.
Bottles with rocks in them.
Bottles, like small water bottles or soda bottles that are cleaned out. We go to the thrift store and buy the old Fisher Price or whatever brand fun toys that light up and make noise, as long as they don't have any pieces that'll come off or something that could be detrimental to the puppy if they get it apart. Most of the time they're small enough they can't destroy that stuff, but they love the noises and the lights and the little sounds that they make. So don't go spend a lot on those things. We even get like small, just little hard plastic toys for them to push around, or little cars, anything like that for puppies that are very small and won't chew things up. A good way to find things is at the thrift store too. So
Facebook Marketplace. You can get, like slide toys.
Oh yeah, we have the climb on toy, like treehouse kind of things. Oh,
as creative as you want to be with this. These dogs, if you can't expose a puppy to too much stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a little ramp that's been built with a little bridge that we teach them to walk over.
We made tables with different surfaces on them, and then we cut one leg off so it's wobbly.
Yeah. Anything that tests their confidence and stuff like that. Yeah. So keep looking around. You never know what they might play with. That's for sure. This is, you don't use dog coats, do you? Mm-hmm. We use dog coats here. This is the only coat that we've ever found that consistently will fit any of our dogs. It's adjustable in the front with Velcro, a big, strong piece of Velcro, and then it goes under their belly. Some of their belly strap ones, the straps are wider than others. I definitely suggest the wider ones if you can find them, but some of them are a little more narrow. But these are canvas, just like a Carhartt. A lot of places put them on sale, so you can get them for like $35 or so. Normally they're probably 50 or 60. They are quilted, they're nicely lined, and we have ones that will chew them off themselves so they don't get another one. We have ones that will keep them on through most of the cold. We put them on when the cold really gets cold, so if they come out of their kennel to go outside, that they're still warm. So we've had really good success. You can put them right in the washing machine. They come out great. They're just as sturdy as a Carhartt is. You really don't use these either. Do you use these?
I use a pooper scooper, but I use the spade instead of the fork.
Oh, got ya. So this is what works here for me. I think my husband usually uses just a regular old shovel, and you can do that too if you want to. But for me, this is more convenient. we go in and get the kennels clean every day with them, and use it around our yard and such like that. It just makes things easier. They're not expensive. $15-$20, you can buy a decent set. Do not leave it where your dog can get it, because they like to chew them. So leaning it up against the kennel, they'll pull it in and chew the handle right off of it. So
I buy the bigger version of that, so it's in the $35 range.
there you go.
But these little areas where the handles touch we don't buy the fork, we buy the spade. Wherever the handle meets it, it's when they send it to you, it's only tack welded. So my husband drills that out and rivets every little area, and then they last. Otherwise, they won't last.
Yeah. All right, we haven't had too much problem as long as we don't let the dogs chew on them, or somebody run over it with a car,
or you don't have a leash near and somebody needs to get broken up from a fight.
I have not done that yet. I haven't grabbed the pooper scooper.
I've never done that before either.
Oh, yeah, of course not. I have grabbed things, but not the pooper scooper.
I will murder you with a baby gate if I have to
get you apart, for sure, and not be eating me. So we put through this part at the end. This is a little bit about puppy care. I certainly have never used the mucus trap situation before, so I'm going to let you describe that.
So bulb sucking is what typically people do, and you shove the end of the thing down the puppy's throat and in the nose, and you suck it up, and you don't really get that much stuff out there. Sometimes you do. Slinging a puppy is very damaging. It's like shaken baby syndrome, so we don't sling puppies anymore. But what this is you can see the green piece goes in your mouth, and the other piece goes down their throat, in the back of their throat. You don't shove it. Obviously, you don't shove it down the throat. Sorry, but it goes in the back of the throat, and you can suck from that green. You personally can suck from that green piece, and you're not gonna suck it into your mouth. It goes into that.
It's made for what you're
doing. So that's the best way to get the most mucus out. Bulb suckers are fine if you do that. Just don't sling. We don't sling puppies anymore. That's completely old technology.
The accordion. Look up the accordion method.
The accordion method is it's definitely on YouTube. Accordion method of puppy resuscitation. The amount of shit you will get out. Sorry. The amount of stuff you will get out of that dog with the accordion method will shock you the first time you do it.
Yeah.
And you just aim the puppy down, nose down, and you just do this. My hands are on the belly of the puppy. You just keep doing this, and that stuff will come out. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is amazing. It is, and it's more effective than that shaking, and it's safer for the puppy. So definitely check that out for more information. And then the reusable hospital pads, those are actually cloth ones that you use, correct?
Yep.
And then we use a disposable hospital pad as a puppy pad for when we're first starting to try to potty train them.
I don't use this. I don't use mine for potty training. I use mine for like when they're whelping, and then underneath like the bath mats for the next step up from the pool into the area. That's one of their. I use the bath mats on top of those for absorbency and the whelping stuff. And you can get these hospital pads used on eBay. And I know it sounds gross, but they're completely sanitized. Mm-hmm. And you'll get 20 or 30 of them for $100 when they're normally $30 a piece. And all you're doing is getting whelping crap on them. Those things, once the whelping crap hits them, they are never the same.
No. But they can go in your washer and with little detergent and bleach, you get them clean again, right?
Me personally, my dogs have their own wash machine. It's in the basement.
Right.
We don't mingle that stuff. But yeah, they come sanitized. They're just not necessarily like if I'm whelping all night, they'll sit somewhere. I have a big giant laundry basket at the bottom of my steps. I just chuck them down, but they'll sit somewhere too long. I didn't wash them. If I wash them right away or I soak them right away, they come pretty clean.
Yeah,
but I don't care. The dirtier they are looking, that's the ones I use for the whelp. And then the cleaner ones I'll use. The cleaner looking ones I'll use in my second. Once the puppies get out of the pool, I will put down these. I think they're called chuckets. Honestly, that's what I learned they were. I'll put those down and put rubber bath mats down on top of those.
Gotcha.
For traction.
So this is the one on the left is vet fleece. So this is what once the puppies are out and born and we've cleaned everything up, we put this pet fleece right into we use kiddie pools that the mothers birth in, large kiddie pools, and then we pull out, clean up and do everything like that. And then we throw these puppy fleeces in, which is a specific material. It seems to repel the fluid that gets on them. And then the puppies are on a secure footing from day one. Then you don't have to worry about the legs
Flipping
going
around.
back and not being able to get their footing. And I think it helps them get up and walk faster, right?
Well, the newest research about hip dysplasia is starting to point to it being more related to traction early than anything else. From the time they're born to the time they're 5-6 months old is the most important time. And people, you want to say whether that's genetic or whether it's not genetic. At any rate, you can help to alleviate that stuff by making sure these puppies never put their feet back where you can see their.
Right.
The end goal is when you see the pup, they should be. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Puppies should be walking very early. A few days old, they should already have their feet underneath them. So the thing that you see when you can see a puppy with its back feet, if you can see the pads of a very young newborn puppy, that is doing damage to that puppy.
Right.
So if their feet go back, I always just go in there and put them up there. But if you use this vet fleece, it's the best thing that we have found that keeps their feet under there. When the feet go back and you can see the underneath, that's pulling the teres ligament, and the teres ligament is what connects the hips and keeps all that stuff solid. So every time their feet are back where you can see the paw pads, damage is being done. So this vet fleece is very important from as soon as you're ready. Like I do at the time, as soon as I'm done and I know all the puppies are out,
Yeah.
I'm throwing it in there. I know
Yep.
It gets crap on it, but I'll just go buy more. And this stuff is not cheap.
Yeah, this is one of the more expensive items.
It's like $450 for a 16-foot roll, 5 foot wide, and I just cut 3 circles out of each piece. And never use a fabric softener, never use a laundry sheet. Well, don't dry them. Don't put them in the dryer. Don't use a laundry sheet. Don't use a fabric softener. You just hang those to dry, because eventually the wicking aspect of it, that's another thing that's good for. Your mother could pee on it and you won't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It soaks down into underneath it so quickly that your puppies, another thing that is puppies sometimes get used to laying in their own pee if the place that they're laying to nurse is not absorbent, because they're born wanting to get away from where they go. So by the time they're a week and a half old, they're already scooting themselves away from the mother to go to the bathroom, and then they'll come back. You can capitalize on that from a potty training standpoint. That'd be another video.
We'll get into that
So
another day.
We can talk about how puppies can be potty trained at 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that will help your buyers, and your buyers will be really happy with you when you do that. But the wicking quality, the traction quality, this is the best stuff, and hands down, there's no other. If you see puppies, if you're looking around for a breeder, and I'm sorry to all these people who didn't know better, and you do this, make a change. But if you see the puppies just spinning around in a pool, maybe there's a bunch of shavings or something in it, and you can just see them, they're paddling around. Don't buy that.
Yeah, not going to be good in the future potentially. So this is the best thing for them for sure. And we've had a lot of success with it. It's easy to care for. You can pop them in your washing machine too. We've also used the wishy-washy on them in the summertime to try to keep them clean and such like that too. So lots of options there. The last item, if you've watched any of Jen's videos on her social media, you definitely have the entertaining experience of watching those puppies running around these. But it does teach them to keep their feet out of the food, keep them in their spot, make sure everybody's getting enough, and that center of the bowl problem isn't there for them to have to step in to get it. I will say that we don't have them here. We use multiple bowls when we're trying to train them to eat at first. And we just kind of do the go around, and if somebody steps in the food, you just pull them back out. Step in the food, pull them back out.
They learn that way as well, because Dave and I's intensive way of doing it is just what we learned to do. We just stand there with each puppy the first few times they eat, and we just hold their face to the bowl, and if they put their foot in it, we move it back. And then by the time the third or fourth try, they're just all spun around there. But you definitely do have to get multiple bowls involved to avoid all of that fighting. I know a lot of people, especially in our breed, think that's all cute and stuff, but that's not cute for an owner at 130 pounds.
No. Yeah, to try to teach them better habits. Yeah, absolutely.
Always have an option. So if two of them, invariable, some of them just will not get along. So they always need an option to go to another bowl. If they don't have an option to go to another bowl, well, we're going to fight.
Yeah.
And grabbing and making them fight and think that's all cute. That's not cute.
No. So
Well, the thing we forgot about, I was gonna get. We sat down here and I wanted to add my pool noodle thing, so I use a baby pool, and it doesn't. The puppies are mostly smashed puppies, which I personally don't have. I probably jinxed myself. Shit. So I don't have too much problem with smashed puppies myself. My mother seemed really comfortable and really calm and really smart about that. So even first time mothers, but the biggest issue you'll ever have is being smashed against the side. So people put these pig rails up in their whelping boxes or whatever. And a baby pool, obviously you can't build a wooden ring. So we just buy the bigger version of the pool noodles, and we cut them to length around the outside, about 4 inches up, 3-4 inches up, and then we zip tie it to it. I wanted to get pictures of that, but I just forgot.
If you want to see some, we can get you pictures, or take a look at Jen's. Yeah, take a look at Jen's videos of the puppies.
And then when the mother lays down, she may catch the little bit of it, and then the puppy just squeezes underneath the pool noodle, and the mother's back is not on the puppy. I in 26 years, I can't think of any time that I've had one smashed directly in the middle of a place. It's almost always on the side of a place.
Yeah, right. And we've never had, we lost a puppy early on from a mom laying on a puppy. And since we've switched to the pool and used the pool noodles, what it is there's a baby pool, then you take another baby pool the same size, cut a hole in the middle of it, put your fleece down, put the other pool down.
I personally don't do that.
You don't do that?
No, I don't have. I generally don't have. If you have she did that because I told her to do that because she had a mother who kept digging up the fleece and burying the puppy. So if you have a mother that does that, like she said, you get one pool on the bottom, you put the fleece into the pool, and then you cut the bottom out of a second pool and smash it on top of there. That way the mother can't do it.
The edges
For the most part, as long as I keep the calcium up, my moms don't do that too bad.
So you just birth them into the pool that already has the noodles in there?
No, I don't do whelping. Well, I have like 10 pools. Because they just keep piling them up. Because if they get chewing on the noodles, even the noodles are perfectly fine. I'm like, oh, I can't show that. What the hell? But yeah. No, yeah. I let them whelp in a completely open pool, and then once I'm changing to the fleece, then I change to the pool noodle pool.
Right, and those are put on the sides with zip ties about, like she said, 3 or 4 inches up from the bottom. So the mom can lay up against those, but there's still a nice kind of space cut out below them that the puppies can even get in behind there and stuff, and they don't get laid on. So it definitely saves puppy lives. So we're to the end of our slides, which makes me sad because there's probably 1,000 other things that we haven't remembered. But we are looking forward to your input and things that you have ideas for that maybe we didn't know about. And we definitely hope this helped all of you and taking care of the precious Presa canarios that we love so much. We do have some upcoming episodes. We're going to get back more into the meat of things. This one was my idea because I have nothing else to contribute.
She wanted to do it a while ago.
Yeah, and we finally got around to it. So life does take a toll on us sometimes, and we've got other things we've got to do. Jen and my husband have been doing the dog shows and different events around, trying to get our dogs into show quality condition, and leaves us not as much time to do these podcasts as we'd like, but we're going to try. We've got some subjects on the agenda coming up. Definitely watch her social media pages for more information. I think we're going to do some interviews.
The next one will be about the history of the breed. So dispel some myths and talk about the start of the breed and the official recognition of the breed and the different registries and stuff.
Great.
Probably will be Ewa from Great Gladiator will be on. Then after that, I'm going to get into some breeder interviews. So if you're a young breeder, old breeder, new breeder, whatever, if you want to be interviewed, it's not a hit piece. We're just going to let you ask you some questions, let you talk about yourself and what you do and what you think of your goals, the direction of the breed and stuff. It's not a confrontation at all. So if you want to be part of that, send me a message.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. We definitely want what's best for the breed to get it more mainstream, more people familiar with it, and understand why we
humanize our faces. So
there you go.
So it's just maybe if we introduce ourselves and we start to know each other, that we'll maybe treat each other like humans rather than the way that we treat each other now.
Yeah, it can only go up from here.
No. Nuclear war coming soon.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So we appreciate your time today. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. And we can't wait to see you for the next episode. So keep an eye out for the dates. We'll get them up as soon as we have a plan. Thanks for your time.
Yep. See.